warning, the contents of this video may be disturbing to some viewers. It is not a bash the Demon video, because I think Dodge did an excellent job of the car. There's just a few, I feel like, misunderstood facts and a few things I don't think are necessarily accurate. Like, let's start with the most obvious, the 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. I don't even remotely understand how that's possible for a rear-wheel drive car that weighs that much. I mean, if you were under perfect weather conditions on a drag strip, maybe. But in real world, I don't think you would ever get anywhere close to that. If that car got to 3, I think you would be doing fantastic. So to get down to 2.3, I mean, you're talking Tesla, 0 RPM, huge amounts of horse, and the Tesla puts more wheel horsepower down all-wheel drive than the Demon does to the crank. So, I don't know, I feel like there's a little bit of interpretation on that and how much you're willing to believe. The 840 horsepower, however, absolutely, that is fantastic, and congratulations to Dodge. That is a great number. It exceeded my expectations by a lot. I kind of thought they were going to royally disappoint everybody and add like 15, 20 horse. I'm a little, I don't know, I guess I get caught because a lot of people go on and on that it's the first production car that's ever wheelied over 3 feet. That's not true. The Copo Camaro did it. The Copo Camaro also ran a quarter mile in under 9 seconds, 8.99, which is great, but it is not a street legal car. But the Dodge Demon is not a legal drag car. So where do you draw the line on what it can do and what it's designed to do? Because any times, I believe the number is 10.49 seconds. Any times faster than that, you have to have a roll cage, you have to have like just all kinds of things. You got to have 5-point racing harnesses in your helmet and your, fire retardant suit and all kinds of things to be able to run those times. And I know the Teslas have gotten in a lot of trouble because they are running like, what were they running, like 10.5 or 10.6 on the quarter mile. And I mean, they have no combustion engine, so the likelihood of them lighting on fire is pretty minimal. But I mean, the rules are the rules. To drag race and run those times, you need to have your car equipped to do so. So when do you give the car the credit? Do you give it credit that without legally being able to do it, it can? Or that if you made it legal, it would still run pretty close? Because, I mean, you had a roll cage, you had weight. You know what I mean? By the time you got the car to the track, it might be a little bit heavier. To do the wheelie and do these quarter mile times, you got to change the front tires, which means you're not running your street setup. Those tires are not street legal. So again, you've got a car that has to go to the drag strip to be prepped for it, but it can't legally run it. And then you've got the street side of it, which won't run those times because it's not set up for it. So what is it? Where does it fit? What credit is it owed? What credit does it deserve? I mean, I applaud Dodge. I think they did a great job. I think the car looks great. I love the 42-inch scoop across the hood. I love that they did their thing. I love that it's not, they didn't put a GT40 replica hood scoop in it like a lot of companies have done, or do this or do, like, it is just all Dodge, it's all Chrysler, it's all Challenger. I mean, good on them. I think the street version of that car with those super meaty tires on the front looks awesome. I love the smaller rims and the taller sidewall and that a bit more grunt, I guess, to it. I think it looks awesome. I mean, good on them. And I was happy that the car exceeded my expectations, because I would have been disappointed if I wasn't. And that's, I guess, just basically where it comes down to. I have discussed with Hellcat owners as to how that will affect the value of the Hellcat. They seem to think that limited production and some of the weird stipulations I mentioned will not affect the values of Hellcats, but I completely disagree. The Hellcat is ancient history. It might be a really great car and really fast and have 700 horse, but it is not the best Dodge you can get. And no matter how you slice the pie, the Demon is the king. The Demon is top dog. It just set a whole new bar for everybody. And even if Corvette comes out with 700 horsepower or 800 horsepower, I mean, it's not going to be top dog. The Demon is there. I feel like nothing will touch it for a while. I feel like the limited production of the vehicle will help its own value and further depreciate the Hellcat, because, I mean, you own a Hellcat, you don't own the best anymore. And that is just all there is to it. If GM comes out with their mid-engine supercar, the Corvette values will take a tank. That's the best, and everybody wants the best. The ZL1 1LE tanked the resale values of the ZL1 because that's the track version. That's the best version. That comes with all the, lighter wheels and more aero and more downforce and more this and more that. I mean, at the end of the day, the people who are willing to spend the big bucks on the top level trims, they want that. Now, all of this said, this might help me get into a higher end version of the Camaro, because I have a pretty good feeling that its value, its numbers, and its significance in the automotive industry and history of the automobile might tarnish the resale values of the ZL1. People get really hung up when they're buying cars that you can buy a car for cheaper with a little more power or a little more this, a little more that. Well, I mean, for the guys that just want that brochure life, they just want to have the biggest, baddest brochure car you can get. I mean, you're not going to top it, no matter how you want to argue and slice that pie. So, if I get the opportunity to drive one, or experience one, or go for a drive in one, I mean, the camera's coming along with me. 1.8 G's worth of acceleration. I'm pretty sure I've exceeded that, if not matched it, in the Tesla I drove, which was painful in all the right ways. So, I don't know. I think this is going to be a time will tell type concept, and we'll see how the market kind of all lays. And I know the collectors who have $100,000 extra in an empty garage space that just want the car to say they own it, I mean, they're gonna make away like bandits in the long run. And that's pretty awesome. It's pretty nice that you're not looking at necessarily all Italian automobiles or German automobiles to have that next level, to get into those really ridiculous numbers. And I guess a part of it is the exclusivity. I know when you see a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Maserati or anything like that, I mean, there is a whole lot of prestige that goes along with owning that automobile. And there is a whole lot of excitement, I guess, about seeing a car that you just don't see that often. And I feel like the Demon's going to be that. You'll get your ritzy areas where they have 3 of them, because that happened in the Hellcat. I mean, I go to the gym, and there's up to 6 of them in one parking lot every weeknight, all summer long, which is pretty crazy, because most people have never even seen one. And I get to see handfuls of them in different colors all the time, and different specs, and sit in them, and I know the owners, and I go for drives. I mean, talk about cars, it's usually really negative. They usually just crap on my Camaro all the time. So, is what it is. I'm the guy with the slow car at the gym because, it's all I can afford. Can you imagine? Weird. I will say though, I get so much more out of this car than I got out of driving the Hellcat. But that's just me. Again, there's a lot of different angles you can look at everything and how you can see it. But to sum it up, thank you Chrysler very much for building the Hellcat and therefore taking a dump on your own lawn and building the Demon and giving the Mopar boys something else to gloat about, and just doing the American thing and not really caring what everybody thinks or fuel economy or just anything. Just building the car you want to build and let it be its own animal. It's pretty awesome. Until next time, everybody have a fantastic day.